In Fire Station Number 6 in Livermore, California, a single incandescent light bulb has been burning almost continuously since 1901. Known as the Centennial Light, it was designed in 1897 by French inventor Adolphe Chaillet and manufactured by the Shelby Electric Company. For well over a century, it has simply refused to burn out. But this longevity is an anomaly for a very specific historical reason. Prior to the 1920s, it was common for standard incandescent bulbs to last from 1,500 to 2,500 hours. Today, they burn out much faster. That shift was not an accident of engineering. It was the result of a coordinated effort by the world's most powerful manufacturers to ensure their products would die on schedule. By the early 1920s, the global lighting industry was facing a crisis. Their products were simply too durable. As manufacturing improved, customers rarely needed to buy replacements. For the companies making them, this technological triumph was a financial disaster. Between 1922 and 1923, the German lighting giant Osram experienced a devastating 50% drop in bulb sales. A profound fear of market saturation rippled through the industry. If every home on Earth was outfitted with bulbs that lasted for years, the primary revenue stream for these massive industrial conglomerates would dry up completely. The major players realized that if they continued to compete on durability, they would engineer themselves right out of business. The solution to this crisis was engineered in Geneva, Switzerland. On December 23, 1924, executives from the world's preeminent lighting companies gathered to organize a global monopoly. William Meinhardt, chairman of the board at Osram, was the key architect, working alongside Anton Philips, head of the Dutch lighting company Philips. To avoid American antitrust laws, General Electric directed its participation through an overseas subsidiary. Together with major manufacturers like Tungsram and Tokyo Electric, they forged an alliance. On January 15, 1925, they incorporated Phoebus SA, a Swiss corporation serving as the legal front for a global cartel. Their primary directive was unprecedented. They mandated a strict limit of 1,000 hours for standard household bulbs, deliberately suppressing the longer lifespans that had previously been standard. Enforcing a global technological downgrade required strict surveillance. Anton Philips explicitly warned his internal executives against producing long-life lamps. To ensure compliance, the cartel established the Swiss Central Testing Laboratory. This facility featured extensive testing racks where cartel technicians continuously monitored bulb samples, waiting for filaments to break. If a manufacturer's bulbs consistently exceeded the 1,000-hour limit, they were penalized. This enforcement was rigorous. In the 1929 fiscal year, the cartel levied 304,000 Swiss francs in penalties for exceeding lifespans and production quotas. The system worked perfectly. By the 1933-34 fiscal year, the average lifespan of bulbs produced by cartel members dropped from 1,800 hours to 1,205 hours. Consequently, cartel bulb sales rose to 420.8 million, surging upward despite the Great Depression. However, an organization built on international collusion was inherently fragile. The foundation of the cartel first began to weaken in 1929, just as their financial penalties reached their peak. That year, General Electric's core patents began to expire, allowing non-cartel competitors to enter the market. But the definitive blow came from outside the business world. Between 1939 and 1940, the outbreak of the Second World War violently fractured global supply chains. With Europe plunged into conflict, international corporate coordination between companies in Germany, Britain, France, and Japan became impossible. The administrative structure of the cartel effectively dissolved, rendering their quotas and testing laboratories suddenly obsolete. The aftermath of the cartel left a complicated legal legacy, marked by sharp contradictions. In 1949, the United States District Court of New Jersey ruled against General Electric. The court concluded that reducing bulb lifespans was a violation of the Sherman Act, explicitly framing the manipulation as a profit-driven antitrust violation. Yet, across the Atlantic, a different conclusion was reached. In 1951, the United Kingdom Monopolies Commission published a report completely dismissing claims of planned obsolescence. Instead, the British Commission endorsed the 1,000-hour limit, arguing that it was the optimal engineering compromise between a bulb's lifespan and its power efficiency. To them, burning hotter and brighter for less time was simply better physics. For decades, the true motivations behind the Phoebus arrangement remained buried in corporate archives. It was not until 2014 when researcher Markus Krajewski published an exposé bringing internal cartel records back into modern debate. Today, framing the cartel's actions strictly as the invention of planned obsolescence, rather than a thermodynamic engineering trade-off, remains an analytical perspective. But the undeniable reality is the financial outcome. Whether optimizing for power efficiency or purely for profit, the Phoebus Cartel demonstrated that a global industry could artificially limit durability to guarantee repeat customers. They turned the burning out of a light bulb into a highly predictable business model, embedding a philosophy of impermanence into modern manufacturing.